Hey guys, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a game all about building a monster, a Frankenstein monster, called Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein. Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein is a 2 to 4 player game where players are taking on the role of a famous scientist, well, not even a famous, but a scientist, basically 20 years after the book of Frankenstein. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a monster to be a companion for Frankenstein because Frankenstein's lonely. So they're trying to create a monster the quickest because they want their monster to get out there and start mingling and become the significant other to the Frankenstein monster before everybody else. The way you're going to do that, you're going to take some workers, right here. You're going to take some workers, you're going to place them on a board, worker placement, and you're going to gather dead body material, so organs, skin, muscle, bone, blood, and you're going to use that to make your own monster. You may have to get your hands dirty, go down to the alley, and kill some fools. Just the cost of doing business. So that's a little bit about the game. It's dark. It's gruesome. The art is a little bit crazy. There's a decapitated dude. So just know that when we're looking at it, it's a little bit gruesome. I don't go into it a ton during the gameplay, but it's a dark theme. So enough talking about it and enough with the disclaimer. Let's go down to the table. See how it plays. Okay, so here's a game of Abomination, all set up for 2 players. I'm going to go over a setup of the board, and then I'll show you what the player board looks like, which will not be on screen, but whenever I do something on it, I'll hold it up here so you can see it. So to set up, you're going to put the stacks of cards either next to the board or on the spots where they go. So the public square, you're going to shuffle them. They're going to look like this. You're going to either sit them next to the board or put them here. The spaces can stay blank. The events may or may not affect those. You're going to shuffle the hospital, put the number face up with the number of players, so I'm playing a 2-player, so I have 2 face up. The rest of them you can sit off the side or whatever, or on the board. You're going to shuffle the morgue cards, put all of those face up, so whenever you draw morgue cards, you'll be able to see kind of what you're getting. You're going to shuffle the public square, or I'm sorry, the academy cards, the research cards, look like this, and you're going to flip 2 up on the appropriate spaces. You're going to shuffle the Saint Roche cards, or I'm not sure how you say that, but the humanity cards, and put 2 of them on each of the spaces. You're going to shuffle the docks, put 3 face up. Based on the number of players, you might want to use one of these bumps. If you're playing a 4-player, it's on the board, but 2 or 3, you're going to have to use this guy, so I'm playing a 2. And then in the market, I have the Leyden jars and ice cubes based on the number of players. You can put them all out here. There'll be 4 ice cubes and all that, but each player can only have 1, so I just put the amount of things that we have. Then you're going to have 4 in-game goals, which are going to look something like this. This is going to be the first person to do this, which is get 27 expertise, is going to get you 10 points. And all of these are going to kind of be something like that, have most ranked into the game, first to 10 on the humanity dial, and first to have 6 monster parts on the table. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, set up all the other stuff around here. Another thing you want to set up is you're going to set up an event deck, and it's going to be on this board right here, which you can sit either up at the top, on the side, just somewhere off the board. You're going to take the Captain Meeple. It's going to be basically the round tracker. Put it on space 1. Then you're going to make an event deck, which is 6 event cards, 4 encounter cards shuffled, and then 2 more random event cards on top. And this card right here is going to be on top so no one knows what's going on. Then you're going to give each player their player board, which looks like this. So it has spaces for organs and bones, body parts to put your Frankenstein monster on. It has dials to keep track of your humanity, your reputation, and your expertise. So in this case, this player is, I'm going to be playing as this player, which is Prisha Chatwell, and she starts the game with 2 humanity, and whenever I do a certain thing, I'm going to get a special power throughout the game. And we're also going to start with 1 scientist and 2 littler scientists, which are apprentices. So I'm not going to show you, keep the board on the screen, but just know that it's off here, and whenever I do something on it, I'll show you. We're also, each player is going to get one of these as well, which is going to show you how to start a monster part, then complete it so you can bring it to life, what's needed and what you need to do. All right, so that's basically enough for the overview. Let's go ahead and walk through a round. So there's a nice little round phase that's going to show us what we kind of need to do and what all the action spaces mean on the board. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to draw an event card and resolve it. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to draw the very first event card. If you look at this event card, it has rounds 6 through 12. And then it also has rounds 1 through 5. So we're on rounds 1 through 5, so let's go ahead and read it. The overproduction of livestock results in 6 metric tons of unclaimed beef and pork. Any able-bodied persons with a meat trolley are enlisted to retrieve what they can before the carcasses spoil. When placing at the slaughterhouse, gain 2 extra animal material and 1 franc. So I'll explain some of the board later, but this is going to affect the slaughterhouse up here. So if I go there, I'll kind of keep that in mind. And if you look at this card down here, it has lightning bolts. So what that means, if you had any of these Leyden jars on your board, they would go from non-charged to charged. But since we've just started, there's no need for that. We don't have any of these. So we're going to just go on. So I'm going to put this event marker right here, up here, so I know that this area is affected by the event. All right, so when we go there, we get 2 extra animal materials and 1 franc. All right, so the goal of this game, what we're trying to do is we're trying to collect body parts. So in this case, this would be organs. We're trying to get organs, muscles, blood, and bone, and maybe some animal parts which function as wild parts, but they're going to cost you points. So we're going to do that through some worker placement. We're going to take our workers based on what they are. Wherever they go, they can do different things. So apprentices can do certain things. Scientists have stronger abilities, but most people can do most actions. There are a few actions that are specifically designated for scientists, like the volunteer and donate and advanced research, but most of the time you can do anything that you want with any person. It's just the apprentice is usually weaker. And there are also some spots on your board that you can go to up here, which is going to help you. These spaces are pretty much going to help you make it so you can make your monster better. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So purple's first because I have the monster meeple. And I'm going to go ahead and go. So I want to collect some body parts because I need to start getting some stuff to make some monsters, and I need to get smarter. So the first thing I want to do, because I want to show you some stuff, is I'm going to come down here to the dark alley. And I have to go there with my scientist, so I take my scientist down here. So down here, I'm going to murder someone. It's going to give me all these pieces in stage 1, which means they're going to be fresher longer. So if you look at this board, there are stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 spaces that I can put body parts in. You want stuff in stage 1 because they're going to be worth more points and they're going to last longer throughout the game. So I go down there. I'm going to get all these body parts stage 1. I'm going to get a police marker, which what this means is it's one of these. If I have 2 of these, I cannot go here until I pay 3 francs. So I now have 1 of these on my board, so I can't go there until, well, I can go there again, but then if I go there again, I'm going to have to pay some money. And because I went there, I also lose 3 hearts. So I go to this player's board. So the humanity, they started at 2, so now they're down on -1. So that's just going to make them lose points, make me lose points if I keep doing that, and I don't really want to do that. But I'm going to get some goods. So I'm going to get 4 organs. I'll put them right there. 4 muscles. I might be telling you these backwards, but either way, purple is either muscle or organ. Brown is the other one. I'm going to get 2 bones. And then I'm going to get 3 blood. And now these are going to go on my board, all on level 1. So let me show you that. So here's the board. On level 1, I'm going to put all of these there. I can have a maximum of 15. The only things that will not go there would be the bone. They have their separate reserve down here that you can hold 12. So it looks something like that. So that's what my board is going to be. So I now have 3, 5, 7, 8, 11 cubes in level 1 and 2 bone to help me in building things. So I'll go over here, and that was my turn. All right, so now it's Red's turn. What do they want to do? They're going to start building up their knowledge, because knowledge is power in this game. So they're going to come over here. They're going to do some advanced research. Has to be a scientist. They're going to get one knowledge. I'm not going to show you their board, but they're going to get one knowledge. And they're going to get to take one of these cards. So they're going to take this card. They're going to get to play at any time to either gain 3 knowledge, or they can use it to mitigate dice at the bottom. But they're going to go ahead and play it right now. So they'll put it at the bottom of the deck. They're going to go up there 3 knowledge, and then they'll refill the Academy card, and that's their turn. So now they are going to be able to start building monster parts, because in order to build a monster part, you have to at least be at 3 knowledge to build an arm. On the back, to bring it to life, it costs even more just to complete it, but you need to at least be 3 to do anything. So that player's at 3, so they're good to go. So now I need to get up my knowledge. Where can I go to do that? They took it. Let's see what this card does. I kind of want to see what this does, because this will give me some good stuff. If I can pick it up. When giving blood in your lab, do not gain the normal benefit, but instead gain some reputation, some money, and some knowledge. It's not actually a bad idea. So I think I have everything I need. Nope, so I'm going to go to the slaughterhouse. So I'm going to come up here. So when I go there, I can take either 4 level 2 animal parts or 3 level 1s. I'm going to take level 2 because my board is getting full with level 1. But also when I go here, I gain 2 extra animal parts and 1 money. So I gain 1 money. And I'm going to be able to gain 6 level 2s. So I'm going to go ahead and take the animal parts, gain 6 level 2s, put them on my board, and I'll show you what that looks like. 4, 6, and I'll show you my board real quick. So here's what my board looks like right here. So you can see I have stuff in level 1 and level 2. I have some bones. So I'm looking pretty good. I think I'm going to be able to build as long as I can get my knowledge up. So we'll try to do that. All right, so now we're going moving on to Red. Red has their special power would have given them an extra coin at the beginning of the round too. So Red has apprentices left. That's it. So I'm going to let's see. All right, so I'm going to come here to atone. So with an apprentice, you're allowed to take 1 card, and you don't get any special benefits. So they're going to go ahead and take this card. This is a mean one. So when somebody places out on the board, you can force them to play somewhere else, and then when you do that, you get 2 humanity. So that's what that player is going to do. They like that card. You can have 3 of these cards up in front of you at any time. Now it's back to me. I have 1 guy, 1 apprentice left, and I'm actually going to, I need to get some knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. But how can I get some knowledge? All right, I'm going to come down here to the docks, and I'm going to take this card. And it's going to, I have to pay the coin up at the top and to lose 2 humanity, but I can either take all the cubes in the bottom or the knowledge, and I'm going to use the knowledge. So I have to pay 1 coin, lose 2 humanity, so I am now down in humanity. So 1, 2, and I have to lose a reputation now. So I'm at 0 reputation, but here's what my board looks like. So I went down in humanity, which caused me to go down in reputation, so I'm at 0 now. But I get to go up 2 in brain, in knowledge, so now I'm at 3 in knowledge, which is going to let me build arms, which I'm pretty pumped about. Alright, so back to Red. It's their turn. They want to get some parts, so they're going to go to the cemetery. When you go to the cemetery, you take the deck, you get 3 of them, and you can look at them. Any of them that you want, you have to pay the cost in the top right corner. So they could take 2 of these cards for free. The middle one they'd have to pay for. So the chances are the middle one is going to be better. So when you take the card, you can either take the expertise or you can take the cubes at the bottom. So in this case, if they took this one that they had to pay for, they would get level 3 goods. And this one, It's a little bit older in the cemetery. It would be level 4. So we're going to say they're going to go ahead and do them all. They take all their cubes, put them on their board. Then these cards go back down to the bottom of the cemetery, and new cards will be ready to go. And that's the end of the city phase. Now, next thing we're going to do is we are going to go to the lab. So this is going to let us construct monster parts, throw the switch, and preserve materials if we want to do all that. So let's go ahead and build a monster part. So let's look at this card. So to start a monster part, I'm going to start an arm, because I have to be at level 3, which I am. I need 3 bones, 3 muscle, and 2 organ. Okay, 3 bones, 3 muscle, 2 organ. So let's look at my board. I have 2 bones, so I'm going to have to use one of these as a bone, which I'll go ahead and do. And then I need 3 brown. So 3 brown. So I'll put 3 brown here. That guy's gone. And I'll put my bones here. And then I'll put my 2 organs here. All right. So now I pulled the lowest thing I pulled was from level 2. So keep that in mind. Now we're going to go back to that board that I showed you earlier. So let me get rid of these. So I'm paying for an arm. So let me show you kind of what happens now with some scoring. So if you look at this card on arm, I did all that. My lowest level of good that I used is level 2. So it's going to give me 4 points. But I also used 1 animal part, which is going to give me -1 point. So I'm going to get 3 points for building an arm. So I'll take my token, purple, 3. I move on 3. And now I'm going to take the arm. I take an arm, muscle side up, and it's going to go onto my board like so. So let me show you this here. So here's my board. I'm going to take an arm, muscle side up, and I'm going to put it right there where the arms go. So now I'm 1/6, well, not even 1/6, I'm 1/12 of the way to getting my monster alive, because when you start it, then you got to complete it and actually make it with some skin. So that's where we are right now. I have a started monster arm. All right, and every time you do that, you also get to go up. When you build something, you get to go up 1 in your expertise. So I'm at 4 expertise now, not 3. The other player's doing the same thing while we're doing that. And then you can, if you had a completed monster parts, which means parts that have skin. So this is the part I built. If I had this side, which takes higher expertise and blood and all that, I could then try to bring it alive. So let me show you what that does, because I'm probably not going to get to it in this overview. So say my arm is alive. So we'll say this arm right here is alive. And I have 1 Leyden jar. So this is my player board. I could spin this Leyden jar, so flip it to the non-electrified side. Every time I do that, I get to roll 2 gray dice. If my expertise is high enough on my player board, I may get to substitute a gray die with a blue die, but that's not the case right now, so I can't do that. So let me show you what the dice has. It has lose humanity, it has nothing, it has damage symbols, and it has double damage symbols, and it has an eye, which means your part is awake, which is good. You need to get your monster all the way awake, which is 6 pieces alive, and every part that's alive at the end of the game is worth points. So I would go ahead and roll. So I have 2 dice, I'm rolling them. So this roll is not good. So I would lose 1 humanity. You only lose a maximum of 1 humanity, no matter how many hearts you roll, and I would have to damage my piece. So when you damage a part, you're going to put a damage marker on it like that. If at any time a part has 2 damage markers, you have to either downgrade it from, if it's alive, it's not alive anymore. If it's completed, it goes down to the started side, and if it's started, it gets discarded. But on your player board, you can put a scientist down to repair damage to make it go away, so you don't have to really worry about that. It's a non-factor, really. So that's kind of how throwing a switch would work. I'm not going to do that because I don't have any parts that are alive. Now I want to show you the next part, which is preserve. So another thing you can do on your turn is you can preserve some goods. You can preserve muscles and organs down here to sell at the market. So I'm going to go ahead and sell. I need 3 to preserve, so I'm not going to do that. But if I had 3 of either combination, I could go to the market as an action and take 2 coins. Or you can sell 2 bones for a coin. Bones you don't have to preserve. They're already preserved because they're bones. So just those are other actions you can take during this phase of the game. Then, when we're done with that, everybody's built their monster. You've thrown the switches if you can. You preserve materials. Next, you're going to reset the game board. So you're going to decompose your materials. So let me go ahead and show you that real quick. So any level 1s that you have on your board are going to become level 2s. Level 2s are 3s. When blood crosses level 2, you have to discard it. And if a level 4 decomposes, you have to discard everything. So in this case, I would take all my level 2s down to level 3, all my 1s down to level 2. This can be stopped if you go to the market and buy ice. So say I had an ice cube, I could go there, and then I could just flip that and everything would have stayed in the previous space that it was in, and I wouldn't have had to decompose. So that's another thing you can do at the market, is buy some ice. So after we decompose, then we're going to refresh the game board. Which what that means is you're going to take all the cards that are out, put them on the bottom, refill. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick so you can watch that. So new hospital cards, 2 of them because there's 2 players. New academy cards. New scoundrels from the docks. Alright, so we did that. Then we're going to return meeples to character boards. So I'll take all the red ones, give them to the red player. Take all the purple ones back, which are me. Make this go away because that event is over. Then we're going to advance to Captain Space 1 track, so we'll be on round 2. And then we would do another event, so let's go ahead and see what that event is, and then I'm going to wrap this up because I think you're going to get the gist of it. So we got another event. Long live the House of Bourbon. Round 1 through 5. Community leaders organize neighborhood loyalty drives, encouraging citizens to sign pledges to the Bourbon monarchy. Each player may immediately choose once to pay 1 franc to gain 1 reputation. If they do not, they lose 1 reputation. So if you have money, you can pay it to get reputation, otherwise you're going to lose reputation. So you probably want to do this if you can. So there's no execution, there's no lightning bolts. But let me show you something else if I can find it before I wrap this up. Alright, so there aren't any events that do this, so I'll show you on the board. Some of the event cards have the little guillotine symbol. If that comes out on an event card, we're going to flip cards from the public square, which are going to be really fresh bodies, which are going to give you really good stuff. So in a 2-player game, you'd flip 1. In a more than 2-player game, you'd flip 2, and it would go there and make this space available. To go there, it costs a coin, but you're going to get some good stuff. So that's how the public square cards come out. They only come out through events. So in this case, in this game, the public square cards would never come out because none of the events do any public square stuff. So that's crazy. So that's kind of a little bit about Abomination. I didn't show you everything. I didn't go to all the action spaces. I didn't really break it down, but everywhere you can go on this board, you can either become first player, you can get reputation, you can get humanity back, you can come down here to get humanity back, you can get expertise by recruiting people at the docks or digging people up, stealing people from the hospital, digging people up from the cemetery, going to the morgue. You can anything you need to do, you're able to do on this board. It's just you don't have a ton of action, so you got to choose wisely. Also, you're allowed to have 4 workers throughout the game. That's a maximum, but you're able to upgrade 3 of your workers to scientists. So you could, in the game, you can have 4 scientists, which will be nice because then no matter where you go, you're getting the strongest action. So I think that's mostly Abomination. Let's go up to the top, see what they think about it. All right, so that was Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein. First, let me get started. This is a Plaid Hat game. I like no other Plaid Hat games, but spoiler, I love this one. So that out of the way, Plaid Hat, nice job on this one. So I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I like, what I don't like. Then I'll tell you if it's accepted or not. And then we'll get out of here so you can go on with your day. So, pros. I love the artwork in this game. I know earlier I said that the art is kind of dark and could be a turnoff for some, but I really enjoy it. I guess enjoy it is a wrong word, but I think it's good. So this card has been in the grave for a long time, so I'm going to give me bones. This one is a little fresher. It's going to give me more things. Then if you look at the public square, these are even better. Super fresh. You can tell by the art, they're going to give me even better stuff. The board looks really nice. The character art is really nice. The graphic design and layout is all really good. So artwork and graphic design, I highly approve of that. Next is gameplay. It's a worker placement game. I enjoy worker placement games. You go to the spot, you do the stuff. You're just trying to collect resources, trying to use those resources to build a monster better and quicker than your opponent or opponents. You're going to do that through going to the spot, getting some cards. You're trying to buy some stuff at the market to get ice cubes, Leyden jars, get more money, all that. So normal worker placement stuff. I like worker placement. Thumbs up for me. Next, rule book. I think the rule book is exceptionally well written, has good examples. It has what the iconography does. We also have player aid cards, which give you iconography, what everything is. So what was I saying? Purple was muscle, purple was organs. So I got that right. So purple's organs. It kind of shows the round breakdown. You have that card that shows you how much it costs to start a monster, how much it is to complete a monster. All the player aids are amazing. And, so I like that rule book. No problem winning the game. Next, individual player powers. So every player is going to start with their own player. It's going to give them a little bit different of setup and a special ability throughout the game. And if you're into that, flavor text on the back of who this scientist is. So that's going to make the game a little different from play to play because you may be playing with a different ability. There are four characters that you should play. It recommends to play on your first game. The other ones aren't that hard. So if you want to play with the other two, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. What else do I like in this game? I like the events. I'm not big on events, but I kind of like this, that the events are two-sided. So there's round 1 through 5, and then there's round 6 through 12. And one thing I didn't show you is the encounters. So let me see if I can get one of those. There are also encounters that are going to happen based on either right now when you pick it up, or when someone other than the player who triggers the encounter goes to a location. So say I went to the docks and there was an encounter that goes with the docks and I knew that, but the opponent didn't. I'd say, hey, encounter time. You read this, go in the rule book. There's some passages in the back. It's like the crossroads system from Dead of Winter. So you're going to read the passages, make some decisions. Something good may happen, something bad may happen. Just adds a little bit of fun and flavor to the game. So yeah, I like all that. I like piecing the little guy together. So components I really enjoy as well. I think the components are awesome. You got arms, you got heads. So you have the head without skin, the head with skin. All the heads are different. The torsos are mostly the same, but they are a little different. So just have holes in different areas, I think. No, they look like they are actually the same. The cubes are plastic cubes, so nothing super fantastic there, but they're nice. Money's just cardboard. These dice are really nice too. I enjoy the dice a lot. Well, I like looking at the dice, and I think they're nice dice. We'll get into the dice in actually a few minutes here. So yeah, everything right up top that I mentioned, I love about the game. So let me go to the 2 negatives that I have about this game. First, the dice. So in this game, you have to roll dice to bring your monster to life. You can work for 4 rounds trying to build a monster part, complete the part, and then it's time to roll the dice. You may get to roll 6 dice one time. So you have 6 dice, you roll it. Say I rolled this 6 times. I'm only going to lose 1 humanity, but 6 of these. Say my opponent rolls 6 dice, they could roll 6 of these, which brings every monster piece on their board to life if they have 6, when I did the same exact thing but rolled this. Yes, there are mitigation at the academy that you can get to fix dice, but it's not enough, and this is one of my biggest cons of the game, is this. I didn't mind it because it's thematic, because there can be times when you try to throw the switch to bring your monster life to life, and it just doesn't work. So I get it. I just don't particularly like it. Next thing is the game length. So I've only played this at 2, and I don't think I would play it at a higher player count because it's just going to add time. So even at 2 players, we played for about 2.5 hours. So for a worker placement game, that's a pretty long time. So I've read that every player is about an hour, which sounds right because it took us about 30 minutes to learn to set up and all that. So you're playing 4 players for 4 hours. This game is not fun for 4 hours. So you're sitting around for 3 hours while you're playing for an hour. So I wouldn't recommend playing this at higher than 2. 2 is perfect. It does all the same stuff as higher player counts, but you're doing it in a quicker time. So keep that in mind. It's a pretty big con because it's a long game. So if you don't like long games, this may not be the game for you, but if you don't mind it, check it out. So that being said, you heard the pros, you heard the cons. Let me tell you if it's accepted or not. So I think I gave this a rating of an 8 on BGG. So that will boil down to a 4.5 in our wrench rating scale. And that would make this an accepted game. So Abomination, Heir of Frankenstein is BGM accepted. Scrolling down to the bottom. And I love it. I don't know if Joel feels the same way, but it doesn't matter. He can get the seal if just one of us likes it. So I enjoy it. It's getting the accepted seal. And that's all I had to say about it. So if you want to know more about it, go check out the BGG page. I'll put the link in the description. Look at the gameplay to see if this is something for you. Again, it's not a complete rules overview, but just so you kind of get the feel and taste for the game. So I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.